In our previous video, we talked about a definition for Christmas. Very simple, 4 words. God became flesh. Okay, those are 3, but John 1:14, he became flesh. The word became flesh. And that's our working definition for Christmas. In this video, we carry forward the conversation. My name is George Murichu, and this is my friend,
Christian Lwanda.
And we're excited to do part 2. Hang in there. Okay, I trust that we are keeping track, engaging in this conversation. We're talking about Christmas, and at the heart of it, as Christian has pointed out, is the Word became flesh. And why did he become flesh? So that we would be saved from our primary problem, which is sin. And so we want to try and think about the future. What does Christmas look like in the next 50 years? You know, we're just engaging our imagination. What do you think Christmas will look like?
I think in 50 years from now, you and I will be grandfathers.
Yeah.
So the one way of thinking about it is that right now we are living in Jerusalem. Our children will live in Athens, and our grandchildren will probably live in Babylon. Here's what that means. Jerusalem is a place where everyone is on the same page about God. Everyone agrees that there is a God. He can only be one. It is most likely Jesus. That's kind of that general consensus. Even the atheists are Christian atheists.
Yeah.
They're saying the God we don't like is the Christ.
Yeah.
Right? And in Jerusalem, which is kind of currently where we are in, at least the last days of Jerusalem, we still have that idea of Christ is the reason behind the season. For our kids, they won't be in Jerusalem. They'll be in Athens. In other words, the name of Christ will sound like a myth. It'll be as though you're talking about Thor or Odin, right? Some guy who probably was a myth. And it'll be a lot of hard work to explain, no, there are not many gods. There's one God. He is the one who created everything. But 50 years from now, when our grandkids are around, it will most likely be Babylon, where there's an active hatred and despising of God, an active attempt to kill him, much like the same way those 3 Hebrew boys were being thrown in the fire, much the same way Daniel was being thrown in the den in Babylon. It is an active and conscious and hateful and hostile way of quashing God out of the culture and erasing him out of Christmas. So I think Christmas will be highly commercialized 50 years from now. I think Santa will be a bigger deal than Christ. I think all that cultural trappings that are on the periphery right now will be at the center, and Christ will be on the periphery.
Wow. That looks dark, dismal, everything except Jesus is the reason for the season. So if that's the general trend, if that's where things are heading, what can we do to counter that in our families, in our churches, and in our own lives? What can we do to ensure that the kids will have Jerusalem values, even though they'll be in Athens, and that our grandkids will have Jerusalem values, even though they'll be in Babylon?
I think firstly, remember who God is. He's never been beaten in his life. He's El Elyon, the most high God. He is a warrior. When he goes to war, he wins 100% of the time. Yeah. And even in Babylon, in the book of Daniel, it ends with the exaltation of Yahweh. So it's never as dark as it seems. God always wins in the end. Whether we're in Jerusalem, Athens, or Babylon, it is for us to remember personally, God always wins. But secondly, for those of us who are parents, it's important for us to remember to train up a child in the way he should go. That God sent us children for the express purpose of discipling them. And not discipling them in the ways of the world, but discipling them in the ways of Christ. Put differently, if we keep sending our kids to Caesar for their education, we shouldn't be surprised when they come back home as Romans. So we should raise them in Jerusalem, help them understand who our God is, and they will then perpetuate that. And for those of us who are single, especially young people, teenagers, people in their 20s who are very scared of offending people, on the one hand, I'd say you do not want to be offensive, you want to be winsome. But on the other hand, I'd say the gospel is offensive all on its own. And if this God did not think it not worth his time to condescend and be associated with his people, they shouldn't feel bad about being associated with his people and being associated with him, and saying, would you at least consider our God? And if that is offensive, that's okay. But let it never be said that they were offensive. Yeah.
Thank you for watching this second part of the video. We have so much to think about. Just those 3 cities. In a few years' time, our kids will either be in Jerusalem, Athens, or Babylon. And we want to carry forward this Christmas conversation. Join us next week. My name is George Murichu, and I've been having this discussion with my friend and brother,
Christian Lwanda.
And thank you for watching CITAM Church Online. God bless you.